reckoning is time to claim vengeance upon those that have not subscribed. This is the new Neo Tokyo. I don't think you guys can hear me at all on that one. Comics Plus, what is going on, baby? There we go. That's probably much better. All right, Comics Plus, what is going on? It's your boy Aka-san. How you guys doing? Everybody, come on, get into the chat. Get into the chat, baby. Let's go. Get into the chat. Everybody, get in. Let me know you guys are awake. Let me know you guys are alive here. People in the chat, I gotta see you. What's up, the Red Dreaded Nation, baby? We are doing it. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate the 3 people. I appreciate those 3 people, but we wanted to triple that, double it, quadruple it. Whatever, baby. Let's get into the chat, everybody. Or it's gonna be a reckoning. Compliments of China. I'm not even joking. That's why it's so small. It looks like a jock strap, though, doesn't it? What's up, Saiyan League? What's going on? How are you doing? The hype is real, ladies and gentlemen. Let me turn down this music, though. The hype's a little too real. This is the Flash Zoom theme. You guys might be familiar with it. It's actually part of my intro on the but I love that music. Oh my god. Okay. And then I'm gonna turn this up because we're gonna have to hear the main man. The reason why we're here today, we're gonna have to hear this dude live and direct very, very soon. What's going on, guys? It is a beautiful Tuesday morning here. About 3 years ago, I got a little story to tell you guys. About 3 years ago, there was a dude by the name of Scott Unrested Ackerman. Really a big influence to so many people in the J-vlogging community. J-vlogging, Japan vlogging, right? And, you know, as a lot of people, as time has gone by, there's been a lot of, you know, when you're around YouTube, when you've been doing YouTube since the beginning, and it was kind of like a therapeutic release, it was just like a vlogging scene. A lot of you guys may not even be old enough to remember the way YouTube originally was it was just kind of this like vlogging scene, and you obviously still see it a little bit. You see shards of it, shades of it within my channel still, with the weekly Wednesday what's up, with the straight talking, no cuts, no edits, right? But for a lot of us old dinosaurs, it's hard to keep that going for so long when there are people that have come around and have done very overly produced videos, and you know, it's an entirely different ball game. Scott, I believe, Unrested is one of those people that about 3 years ago he quit YouTube for many, many reasons, and I guess we'll get to that soon. But you know, due to this situation where we're at now, and just how people kind of need the old gang to get back together, or what have you not, the old the influencers, the original influencers of the J-vlogging community. Scott is now back, and he's here to talk with us about that, what's going on in Japan, maybe just the YouTube scene if you guys have some questions, and we're gonna make it happen. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the man in. And let's unmute him as well. Hold on a second. I forgot about that one point. Oh, Zoom. Come on, Zoom. Give us a second. And we're shifting that over. And we're good. Baby, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, he's here. He's at. Okay, what's up? Unrested is in the chat. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm staying healthy, staying clean of the COVID.
I guess that's the best thing we can do at this moment in time, right? Just stay clean of the COVID. Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about, though. But first and foremost, you're back, basically.
Yeah, I'm back. First thing I'd like to do is thank you for having me on, and say thanks to everybody who welcomed me back.
Good. Now,
Yes.
what for you? I guess in the shortest version, because I know you go into a lot of detail on this in your channel, on your own personal channel, which you guys can. I definitely recommend you check out. But what were some of the main reasons why you stopped doing? Because you had been running for over, I would say, what, 10 years or
10 plus
so?
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like just making videos constantly, Japan facts, J vlogs, talking about like whenever I remember when there was always like a big thing that would happen in Japan, you'd be one of the first people to cover it and just kind of give your perspective of why that would happen. But what was kind of the reason you quit, and what's the main reason you came back?
Well, yeah, like you said, it's kind of a multiple uh,
Right.
situation as far as why I quit. Well, number one, um, just YouTube messing everything up for a while. I mean, I was having people unsubbed, and then everything was being demonetized, taken down. Some of my most popular videos were suicide in Japan, hikikomori in Japan. They're kind of dark. They're literally called the dark side of Japan, and
That's true.
all of that. I worked on those for ages, and they got demonetized, and some were even blocked in multiple countries. So that kind of really put a damper on my inspiration as far as that's concerned. Then on top of it, I opened a school, which
Yes.
it was it was a huge struggle. I'm actually here at the school right now.
Oh, really? Okay, that's what's going on right now. Okay, yeah, I noticed that. Okay.
And that led to so much stress in my life that I actually kind of had a medical issue with. Um, I pretty much was internally bleeding to the point that
Jesus.
my iron dropped so low that I had to go through all these like medical tests, and that lumped on top of the demonetization, everything
Yeah.
on my channel
Yeah.
just led me to kind of like this like dark place where I was just like, nothing's working out. I don't want to do anything anymore. So, of course, that all got cleared out. I found out that all I had to do was get a very simple surgery to clear up the whole medical situation. My school finally got back on its feet. I climbed out of that, the red spot that everybody's in at the beginning of starting a business and into
Yes,
the black.
exactly.
That, yeah, that's a huge relief. That stopped all the stress in my life too. And then I had to come to the realization that the reason I do YouTube is not for money. It's not for a popularity contest. I do it, as we both talked about, for a cathartic reason, for a
Yes.
sort of venting of, what life is like. Yeah.
No,
And
and that's why, yeah, and essentially that's kind of the reason you came back. Like, what was the triggering point, I guess, for you to just decide, okay, it's time to come back?
I really say I wanted to come back. A part of me really wanted to, but I really wanted to know like what my goal was. Like, why do I even do YouTube? But I realized, I'm never going to be like a 50 million sub channel or something like that. I don't make videos that are like the highest level of editing and production quality. I'm not going to have a team following me around. So what am I going to offer to people that other channels can't? And I had a friend named Dan who gave me kind of a pep talk. He said, you don't need to be like, the next high production channel that has movie like, videos on your channel. He said, just give people variety. There's only so many channels we can watch about Japan. And if we can, we want to take a break from some of those and watch something else. And you're that something else. And I thought, well, there's no better time than now. People are stuck at home. I can't do volunteer work. I can't send money to any organization that's what can I do? I can make videos again.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I think that's a applicable way. I mean, for me, particularly with this shutdown, just been getting more into Twitch, just because that's something that I was never able to really do previously when dealing with my real life job. With YouTube, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's on autopilot, but I essentially have a schedule that I can kind of run, and I'm kind of used to this YouTube schedule and I'm able to put it out there. But now that I don't have a real life job to be going to, Twitch seems to be the place where I can just go jump on, stream for 5 hours and what have you not, play Animal Crossing, and I'm good, which has kind of turned into Minecraft in some form or fashion. Terraforming. But the one thing that I think you you talked about that I think a lot of people look over, and I can relate to this only because of the fact that I guess I've been living here now almost 10 years as well, and is the school situation. Now, for a lot of people coming to Japan, that's a thing. You take it, you get an ALT job, you get a part time job, or you can get a full time job working at a school, taking care of kids, or you can be teaching adults. But generally, doing that full time is going to be a little difficult. If you really want to sort of make it in Japan under the educational field, uh, sort of the top tier level, I suppose, is starting a school, starting your own school. But not everybody is capable of doing that. And not everybody has that kind of it factor to make that happen, particularly in Tokyo. But I definitely have to say I applaud you for actually even making that happen, because I remember the last time we met personally, you didn't even have the school at that moment. You were on your way out from another school. And I particularly remember that in the sense that it's like starting a school is not easy, especially if you're in a major city like Osaka and Tokyo. So I definitely applaud you for even getting out of the red and having, like, we actually have to cut this stream a little short today because he's got another client coming in at the top of the hour. So, and you know, that's something that's amazing that you can even do this in this particular coronavirus predicament. So I applaud you about that, man. Like you gotta definitely pat yourself on the back for making that happen.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say though is the way I had to humble myself was, like, I've had the 10 years of teaching here and I thought, I know everything. I'm teaching. I
Right.
can teach babies. I can teach grown-ups, old people, people on their deathbed, business classes, science class. I can do it all. And then I started this, and I was like, I don't know anything about the business side, and it was a
Yeah.
huge struggle. It
Yeah.
was, oh.
Yeah.
And from there, I guess I had to learn all the aspects outside of that, like the flyers, the putting posts in newspapers, putting billboards up, competing with nearby businesses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I would say for you, like, I'm sure you're gonna get into more details about this on your own channel, which again, you guys make sure you check out at Unrested. He's got the keyword right there. Make sure you check it out and subscribe on top of that. Please do it for your boy. If it wasn't for this dude, this channel may not even have been here when I first came to Japan. Before the whole reaction thing picked up. Before the whole I said it was you and Victor. Give me a break, man. Give me a flake, man. Before the whole reaction thing picked up, I was definitely inspired by J vloggers just living in Fukuoka, and I'm like, okay. And I particularly remember, if I think it was your walking and talking videos that essentially inspired the weekly Wednesday What's Up. A bit of it, just this idea of like an uncut video. Like, yo, let's just talk to the people every week and let them know what's up. But what I was going to say is, what do you think the hardest side was with starting your school, the business aspect point? Like, was it the language communication or just understanding the rules of the game in terms of promoting a business? And is he still there?
Yeah, sorry, it cut out. Like,
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I heard the last
Cool.
part.
So what I was just saying is, what do you think was the hardest part, or what was the most challenging part? Was it a language barrier? Because a lot of people come out here and they think maybe it's just for me personally, that's all that is stopping me from taking over is the language barrier. But or was it just understanding the rules of the game here in terms of business?
A little bit of the rules, but one aspect, and I've said before, this might be unique to Osaka, but Osaka Jin, man, they love a bargain. Like they'll always fight for a bargain. And the one thing that my school had over other schools was we didn't have um, any contracts. We were in competition by having the lowest prices. And the reason was I'm not paying an overhead rent, like I own the place that I'm running. And so I kept my prices very low. And what really surprised me, what I did not expect, was parents coming in and arguing with me for a lower price. And I was just like, dude, we are so much lower than everyone around us. How could you possibly? So I realized I eventually had to put in a cost that raised it a bit just so they could fight it to get down.
Right, take it off, right.
They got that bargain.
Yeah. No, that I would say I would have to say that's definitely an Osaka thing, man. Like that is crazy to hear. But like I lived in Osaka for a little bit. Like understanding, I can definitely see that as an Osaka thing. Like what the fuck? It's too high. Bring it down. Like I just got to negotiate something, you know? Like
yeah, they were like doctors. Parents were like doctors and like in the medical field. Like I know you can if you've afforded GABA before me. You afforded way more. Why do you need a deal?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, so with my particular life, you actually asked people about how things are going with Corona and such. But where I'm at right now, just to give you an update, is I'm a contract worker.
Okay.
But I'm working before Corona hit. I was working full time or I guess part time, whatever you want. You're paid per class, and it's a walk in type of thing. People make appointments and they just come in, and it's adults, man to man. And as you and I both know, that's probably one of the most dangerous situations to be in at this particular time right now, because kids versus adults, kids have no choice in the matter if they want to take lessons or not. So that's the good thing about teaching kids, is the fact that parents decide for the kids, so you can have a good 6 months, at least 6 months of a contract, and you're set financially. Now depending upon how people feel on the Corona situation, you'll still get some of those kids. I know some teachers in Fukuoka that are still teaching to this day, but in other places everything's shut down. But adults are more flaky, I would say, and their schedule is very up and down. So I would say about 80% of my maybe, yeah, about 80% of my revenue has just dropped completely. And I've gone from, 8 to 9 classes a day to 2 classes a day. And which is going to be coming out to about Gomon every month or something, which is crazy, which is a crazy situation. I never thought we would be in this situation, but luckily, I've always had, Patreon and YouTube, a little bit of YouTube to fall back on. So I guess I'm kind of happy that I never listened to outside interference and quit one or the other. Because if you were just doing something full time on one side, that's putting all your eggs in a basket here. But how is your school doing, and how is business for you right now with Corona, the Corona situation?
Well, I would say if I did not own the school that I teach from, yeah, I would be probably freaking out right now. If I had to
Wow.
pay rent or a loan or anything, I don't know how I would make it. My students have temporarily dropped off, and they've even sent me emails that have said, like, we're coming back, don't worry. But I do understand we are a luxury a, as far as a business goes. Us teaching
Unfortunately,
a
yeah.
luxury, yeah. And like you said, I am lucky in the sense that my kids don't really have a choice. Their parents are like, "You're going. That's it."
Get the fuck out the house. School's been closed because school has been closed for what? 4 months, 5 months now?
2 or 3 at
Okay,
least.
okay, 2 or 3. Yeah, yeah. So your kids have been like running around the house or whatever. So you got to have something to send them to, right? Yeah.
Right, right. I guess that is the good thing is that because I am a school for kids, some of them have actually asked their parents, like, "Can I go to Scott's school? Because this is just
So
so
boring.
boring." Like,
Yeah. Yep.
I've got Minecraft set up, like educational Minecraft set up. I've got all kinds of iPad games and stuff like that. So some of the kids who like they don't have computers or internet at home, they're like, "Can you send me to Scott's school?" Like I had one kid, they said, I'm not going to stop coming. They literally told me, I was
Hell
like, hey,
yes.
yeah, I said too, I said, if your dad says you don't want to come or you have to stay home, I understand. Like it's, and she's like, no, I am coming every day I can. Like it is so boring at home. And I was like, oh,
Then that, I guess that's one of the biggest problems I've had is so since I'm under a contract, I can only follow the rules that are set by the school and the company that I work for, but unfortunately they're also precedented by whatever the Tokyo government decides. And so my school kind of falls under the Juku cram school category. So where the whole thing is like if you're gathering over 10 people, you can't be open or something like that. So my school decided to close down because of that precedent, but we've only have like about 5 or 6 people at a time, and most of the teachers, my coworkers, decided to start working from home regardless because they were actually kind of freaked out. I work in the heart of Tokyo, Shibuya, so at that time, that was a huge situation. That's essentially like being in Times Square right now and still going to work. So most of my coworkers decided to work remotely from home. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, then I'm going to get everybody physically. And you had a good amount of students that were still coming every day. But a lot of students, their moms, like I have about like 19-year-old kids or whatever, like in the entertainment industry, but their moms and parents are just like, nah, you can't go to Shibuya anymore. So I see where you're coming from, but yeah, I'm in a particular situation where everything is dictated by the mandate of what is keeps getting put out by the Tokyo government, and I'm quite sure that when things open up again, it's gonna take about a month or two to try to build up that reputation again. It's so weird because I still have some of my students doing Zoom, I'm sorry, TikTok challenges, and we're still talking on Instagram, but they just don't want to do any online classes. So I mean, we set up a substitute teaching style of doing online, and some students have converted to it, but a lot of people just like that one-to-one situation, and particularly with adults, I can understand they just don't really want to be speaking English while their spouse is in the other room and can kind of like hear them in the background.
oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so that's I could see why a lot of people are not up down with that particular online style of teaching. So it's a little scary, and it's definitely a situation where I feel like I'm going to, if this continues to go on, I might have to look for a completely different sort of job, or different type of industry, maybe still teaching, but a different type of industry outside of Tokyo, depending upon how long this is going to go. So, you know, uh,
Well, here's a question I
yeah.
have, I guess, between Tokyo and Osaka. Um, I don't really, I don't know the answer to this. Your situation's a little different, but what is a person doing that came to Japan with like GABA or Nova or
Right.
ECC? They can't go to their job. Their job is canceled right now. They can't go home because airplanes are canceled right now. They can't pay their rent because jobs are canceled right now. What are they doing?
I can answer that one for you because
Okay.
I know I have a fan who was just going through that. You and I both know, April is essentially kind of like the beginning of the year, beginning of the fiscal year for Japan, the beginning of the just the starting point for everything. People get hired, new semesters, things like that. So this corona shutdown, this corona situation really hit Tokyo right at that pinnacle moment where people were about to start off. So I guess the good news is uh, um, people saw this, so it was basically a lot of companies were just like, yeah, you know what, just we're gonna have to postpone you flying to Japan. So I think a lot of people, new recruits and new teachers, ALTs, never even got the chance to get out here because there was already forewarning in March of like, okay, this might go into something pretty bad. So hold up. Now, other people who are already here the beginning of the year, they ended up actually going back to their country. So I have a few fans that were starting and they were about to start teaching, or they were students and what have you not. They just sent them all back home. And I guess the only other option is you can still. I have a few friends from Canada. You can still, if you're at the point where you can't do it anymore, there are emergency flights that you can take. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
wondered about
yeah.
that.
So
So
I gotta
probably get in contact with the embassy.
Yeah. So I got a letter. I got a letter about this. About the ambassador for the United States was like, okay, yo, this is your last chance to get out of here, but it's really not. But it's essentially your last chance to really take some kind of commercial flight for cheap. But what happens, as far as I know, if you really want to get out of the country, like let's just say I'm American, if I really want to go back to America, they will arrange it for you, but it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be cheap. So you're going to go to Narita, you're going to go to the airport, and you're going to get on this unmarked flight, like some shit out of a spy movie. You're going to get on this flight. You have no idea where it's going in America, but you know that it's going to America. So you get on this flight, and it's not until you don't even know how much it's going to cost, but I think it costs about 3 to 6 grand. I'm not exactly sure about the details, but all I know is that once you're in the air, that's when they announce what airport they're going to drop you off at. And then it's up to you to figure out your way home. So for example, hopefully I would be lucky and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Los Angeles airport. I'm like, booyah, we're home already. But just in case, for example, they could say, ladies and gentlemen, our destination is Phoenix, Arizona. They drop you off at the airport and they're just like, boom, you're on your own on how to get to wherever you need to go. So as far as I know, that's the last I've heard of it. But yeah, because there's no other way. A lot of that visa support, I'm imagining most of those companies, like the ALT companies, the school semester has essentially been canceled for the most part, and they're not going to need ALT teachers for the foreseeable future because nobody really knows what to do right now.
That is crazy. I've kind of put a message out there that if anybody's in dire need of some kind of support, let me know. I'm not saying I'm gonna like hand over grand after grand of money,
Yeah,
but
we don't need you doing that again.
yeah, I want to make sure I get somebody something. Like if they're just like, oh, I really, if I could just get this little tiny bit of money, maybe I can offer them my stipend because I don't necessarily need my stipend. That's about it.
But
What about you? I was going to actually ask, how are you being compensated by the Abe no mask plan?
uh,
Got your 2 masks yet? Do you have your
yeah.
2 masks?
Here's my Abe mask. No, I have no. Yeah, I guess
Abe no would never send you that mask.
no something this cool. Hell no. Like
No.
no. That's kind of in this world of Corona, like it's so weird that that's like the big topic now with the students that do sign up. Everybody's just like, hey, did you get your Abe mask? Like that's the only thing you can really talk about now because nothing in life is changing right now. Every goddamn day is the same for the most part. So it's just like, oh, did you get your mask? I didn't get my mask. I don't even need the mask, but I am waiting for it, but it hasn't arrived. I think it's arrived. I think you'll be getting it faster than I will. Which
But you
is
get a stipend too, right? Like we all get like
Juman, right? What is
yeah,
that?
Juma.
100,000? Is that right? Yeah. 100,000
Like,
yen. Yeah. So that's about a grand. I certainly hope so. For me, I've always been about this situation of like nothing is real until it's real type of
yeah,
situation. So
yeah.
I'm in the mentality. I'm totally in the mentality of like I'm not gonna get it, and I hope that I get it. I really need to get it, but I need to prepare for the fact that I may or may not get it for whatever reason, because there's always some sort of exemption and what have you not. But
Yeah.
I think we apply this month, and then we're gonna be getting it next month. And I'm okay for now, but like I said, if this continues to go on, this shutdown for us over here in Tokyo is supposed to be the 7th or the 8th. I don't know about Osaka, but I think it's the 7th or
Really?
the 8th. Yeah, what are
That's
you
way
hearing?
earlier. That's way earlier than us.
Really?
But as of yesterday, we've been told till the end of May. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was May 16th before, and then yesterday the government updated. Well, Osaka Prefecture
Yeah.
government was like, probably the end of May.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
crazy. I
yeah.
didn't get that's crazy because for us, like I got this countdown going on my Instagram right now, and it was only supposed to be for 1 month. And so we shut down April 5th, I guess, or right around that time, and we're supposed to be coming back on the 8th or so, but this week is supposed to be that this golden week is the time where the prefecture is supposed to be talking about, like, yeah, let's let's decide if we're going to extend it or not, and it all depends on how much we're flattening the curve. So surprisingly, the numbers have gotten extremely low this particular week, and so it might be a propaganda about that as well. I don't know. Yeah. uh, Look at Unrested just got a hot message from the government telling them be quiet on that. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. The CCP is coming for me. They're knocking.
they're like, you weren't supposed to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
um,
a certain journalist that will be joining in China soon. So I'm going to
yeah. So that's what we're seeing. That's what I'm saying. Like that, as far as I know, we're supposed to be coming back in a week, but I'm expecting them to extend it maybe by 2 or 3 more weeks or so. And then that's where it gets kind of dangerous for me as well, because that's if things don't pick up on the online side, I definitely gotta hope Twitch or something starts to pay out a little bit better. We
Well,
shall see
that's
on that.
where I feel bad too. Like, there's some stuff I wanted to do some like awareness and like maybe raise money for a volunteer group or something like that. But I was like, can I ask people for money right now? Like, do they have money right now? I don't know. Like, I thought about that's why I was like, I'll just come back with videos because at first I was going to try and run a campaign that was like, let's raise money for the nurses and doctors and stuff. And I was like, wait, I don't know if I want to bug people for money, but I also really want to raise awareness and get support. Oh, what do I do?
Right.
Yeah.
The
So
mix.
that's that. Yeah.
It's funny, honest. Somebody hit me up the other day about doing one of those like Imagine type compilation videos of like going out there and saying positive things, and I was like, no, I'm a pass on that. I'm like, yo, I'm somewhere right. I'm halfway in between telling people to stay up and being one of those people that need to stay up. I'm like, yo, yeah, I need to be on the receiving end of some of that situation. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay, before we move on to more Corona topics here, Saiyan League has a generic question, but
Sure.
what blunt advice would you give and to be to an inspiring YouTuber? We get these questions a lot all the time, but you've gone through it all, really. You've had the peaceful phase, you've had the fan phase where a lot of fans come in, you've had the kind of like creating a group, creating a community phase, you've had the beef phase, you've had the burnout phase, and now the return. So what kind of advice would you give to an
Well,
inspiring YouTuber?
actually, that I would say what we talked about this just a little bit before we started, but I would say decide what path you're going down. And really, if you want to make it the most simple dichotomy possible, there's two paths. You are either going to do YouTube to be high value, high production, top quality, in which case you need to study the other YouTubers that are doing that, see what kind of lighting rig they're using, microphone, computer, everything. But if you're doing YouTube because it's for just you and your passion, then I would say stick to just the minimal stuff that you would need to do that. Don't worry so much about your production value. Don't worry about your views and your subs. Do what you feel great about doing. Either way you go, production or just home value, don't worry about doing anything that isn't something you have a passion for. If you don't do what you have a passion for, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to hate YouTube so much.
Yep.
So number one, make sure no matter which way you choose to go, high production or home quality, choose your passion. That's probably step number one. And then step number two is decide if you're going for I want to just talk to my friends about this type of channel and just converse, don't worry too much about editing, or I want to make this almost like a TV show. So that's what I would say. That's my personal.
No,
how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I'm just sitting here thinking about my own experiences with it. At this point, 200,000 subscribers, I'm still trying to run my channel like a personal sort of vlog, and I know a good amount of my fan base doesn't agree with that particular style, but to me that's what the channel will always be about, just trying to be personal in here, not being like a reaction channel, not being like a J-vlogging channel, just trying to do what I like and trying to translate that into a viable schedule. There's something that a YouTuber once said to me a long time ago, where enjoy the time when you're under 5,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers, and enjoy the time when you're a smaller YouTuber, because that you can do anything you want and everybody's gonna love it. But the moment you get to a certain plateau and you try to do anything you want, people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Like, get back to doing only this, get back to doing what we know you for, like that. And it's so much harder to kind of change and do something different, and then you start to feel stuck. So it's, get to a point like, and I guess that's one of the reasons I'm enjoying Twitch a little bit more right now, because I'm having a smaller audience again, who just, they don't care what I'm doing. They just, as long as I'm just happy in streaming, fucking playing Animal Crossing all day, building, like I said, Minecrafting and things like that. So you have to be careful. And then I think at the same time, if you get to that point of having a large fan base, you are going to have to start making a business model out of it and try not to let the fun escape you while doing it. So, I have a schedule that...
Stop reading comments too at that point.
Yeah, especially if you move to Japan. Yeah, physical comics, never. You definitely have to turn a blind eye to certain things when you get to a particular level. But like I said, I have a schedule and I still try to inject the things that I still love about life. Comics, Marvel, sexy women, it's still there. It's just trying to make a business model out of it. And then I guess the last but not least, when starting to be a YouTuber, like you said, I think it's a good idea to look at what other people are doing. But once you get to a certain level, stop looking at what other people are doing.
That's very true. That's true. Don't copy it too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not even copying, but just stop looking. Like, I think one of the biggest, the worst habits that I have is the fact that I actually have friends that I work with, but I am constantly looking at how long their video is, what their view count is, what type of comments that they're having, just kind of judging and then comparing for myself, like, how am I doing? Like, we look at it because we're trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. But at the same time, I think you start to doubt your own abilities. Yeah. You'll start and you'll burn yourself out that way when you look at other people. There's people I consider friends in this particular industry that I'm glad they're doing so well, but at the same time I'm like, why is this doing so well like that? And
you'll never understand that. Don't ever try to wrap your mind around that. You will drive yourself insane. Like, why does everybody love this? I don't love it. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, so let's say this. copy technical aspects that will
Yes,
improve
yes, yes.
the copy, but don't copy conceptual aspects.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's a good
yeah,
idea. It's still
yeah,
like I think the main thing is you want to wake up and you still want to be nervous. You still want to have a bit of a tingling situation every time you push. Is it even called publish anymore? The publish button, the upload button. Every time you upload a video, every time you launch it, every time you do a premiere, you still want to be a little bit nervous on how people are going to react. And then when that video is over, and you read those comments, you still want to be like excited, like hell yeah, that was so fun, or that was like, if you don't have that feeling, personally, I would quit. That's just my particular situation. The moment I stop feeling excited about doing YouTube, the moment I stop feeling excited about talking with fans, I would just quit. So
yeah, yeah. If it ever becomes too dark for you, like you're like, I can't believe I have to make another video,
yeah,
then you're done. You're done. Just turn it
yeah,
off.
yeah,
Take a break
it's
like I did.
yeah.
I will say also, don't be surprised if the video that you think is the worst one you ever made does the
It's the
best.
most popular one. Yes, yes, yes,
Don't be
exactly.
surprised if the
Exactly.
video you put all your heart, soul,
Yep.
passion, work, and time into
Yep.
gets like 0 views. Everybody hates it, and
Jesus Christ.
crap.
Oh my God. If you honestly speaking, if you look at if you look on my channel and you look on my most popular videos, they're probably the ones that were least expected for me to have gone viral. That like, I think my number one video that has like 2 million views is me fucking opening Attack on Titan capsule toy at McDonald's. I wasn't even trying, like I was like bored and I was like, you know what? I haven't done a Japan video recently. Here, let me just open up a fucking let me just assemble this gachapon real quick. That is my top video and I'm like, why? And then the second one is a Dragon Ball Z Scouter unboxing. Never imagined that to go viral. It did. And then you try to recreate it with, I did an unboxing of something else and I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna make this go viral. Fucking
Yeah.
500 views. Nope. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that did so good. I'll do another just like it. Why do you keep doing the same
Yep.
thing?
Doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like
Oh.
that. You'd be very surprised. So yeah, I mean that's just kind of the way you gotta write it. Like you take it with a grain of salt and just really have fun doing it. But I will say that there is definitely a business aspect about this, where you really want to get people as a fan. Like I think it's more than just YouTube now. It's, you got to run a YouTube site, you gotta run YouTube, you gotta run Twitch, or if you're gaming, you
Yeah.
gotta definitely have a Twitter, because there's no communication with your fans on YouTube correctly. YouTube has never, they just gave up on it.
They've never done it right.
Never done it
Yeah,
right.
they've
You
never
gotta,
done it.
oh God, you have to have a Twitter. You have to have Instagram. For those real sponsors, the paying sponsors. After you hit 10,000 subscribers, you're part of a low tier thing. Twitter, you don't really get sponsors. You don't make money off of Twitter, but that's, like I said, that's the best way to communicate with your people. So, anyways, that's some like senior advice there.
I want to put up the one little bit of a point that you made earlier. Is you said you have another job. You don't make YouTube your main thing. Never
Because I
ever
can't
start
financially. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, don't ever start YouTube if you think it's going to be your main source of income. Like that's crazy to do. Like I have seen people be like, I quit my job because I'm going to be a full-time
I
YouTuber.
remember
Don't,
that.
dude. I don't know why you would ever do that. Trust me, when we started our channels, we never thought like this will be big money. Like
It
no.
won't, no, and like that's the craziest thing. Like I make $300 from YouTube, and people are shocked. People are shocked when
They don't deliver money bags to your door. Like the
no,
cartoon money bags don't show up to
no,
your door.
no, no.
Come
I'm still
on.
waiting. Google's right down the street from me. I'm still waiting for that day to come. Like I can't even goddamn get into the YouTube office sometimes. I got to schedule before I can even walk in there. Like I'm not like Charla. I don't have that silver pass that she gets, and she may not even have it anymore. I gotta schedule, and they want to know why I want to go in there, and then I gotta go through all it's crazy. Like they got a multi-million-dollar studio, and I can't just use it whenever. I literally have to, right before the corona thing I was about to take off, a lot of people will know I was about to rent a studio in Shibuya because Google has a lot of red tape they have to go through, and I understand, but I just wanted to get into a different business, and I also wanted a place that during the downtime of my classes, I wanted to go shoot more videos, or I wanted to collaborate with people, but I also wanted to rent out a studio to other people and make more money. I just wanted to do something other than be so dependent upon this contract job I have. But right before I signed the lease, Abe, prime minister, shut down the schools, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna wait before I invest Jumon a month into the studio. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I dodged a bullet there, but at the same time, I was gonna be so happy to get that going, because this studio is out of my house, but it would be so much easier to do it in Shibuya. So
Well,
I know. Go ahead.
if you want to get into the studio more, I think my big advice to you is play more mobile games and say the word kawaii a lot more. Okay, so
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, because one of the reasons I'm not stressing this month is because I got not a fat check, but I got a pretty decent check from a mobile game that wanted me to just play a game and like react and for
is this where we
Maple.
stop and you promote Raid Shadow Legends?
No, you know what? If they want to give me some money on that one, I am
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good
I
with
would
that.
take it. I'll be like,
I
Raid.
would totally look, any mobile company that wants to do something with some virtual idol girls, I will be right there. I'm tired of doing this shit for free. Let's. I know you got to go in a quick minute here, so let's do a quick checklist on Tokyo versus Osaka. We got a list of questions here. Shutdown and what is considered essential and open. I think it's crazy. Pachinko parlors are still open. Some of them are
They're
being
not
name
supposed to
shamed.
be.
Say what?
Yeah, name shame. I saw that. Yeah.
So for what you guys, the biggest difference, guys, between like other countries and Japan is the fact that Japan doesn't really have any power to shut down a business. So what they do, they just kind of like, they're like, pretty please shut it down. And if companies are like, nah, fuck it, we're gonna stay open, like a lot of these gambling, essentially like casinos, pachinko places. So what's happening is the governor is just like, okay, well, we're just gonna name the companies to like name shame them, shame, and so it's working for like 2 out of the 5 or 6. Like, it's so dumb, but you're just, this shutdown is so weird because it's such a half-assed shutdown. It's
It
so
really
weird.
is.
How crowded? Okay, so here's a good one. For how crowded are the streets in public transportation? For me, Tokyo, it's, well, I'm on the outskirts. I'm in Kanagawa area,
Okay.
so it still looks fairly busy. They shut down a lot of parks in Tokyo, the Tokyo area. Shibuya is goddamn looks like I Am Legend right now. So
It's a ghost town here in Osaka. It's a
okay.
ghost town. It's insane.
But the
Yeah.
craziest thing, trains are still running at what, 90%, 80%
Oh, yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of empty goddamn trains. But if you're taking morning, I don't know about you, but if you're taking morning trains, it's still pretty packed. So.
Oh, I'm lucky I don't have to. I never have to. So.
Yeah, me neither. But just looking from what I'm reading, it's still fairly packed. But it is there is a noticeable decline. Is anybody in your area been affected? Anybody that's been affected?
Not me. Well, this isn't Japan, but my mom back in America, someone in her apartment complex got it.
God damn.
And then after they went through quarantine, they got released, I guess. And they started like being like, hey, here, I'm delivering some groceries and stuff. I was like, Mom, don't take those. Mom, leave those at the door. She's like, oh, but she's okay now. And I'm like, no, Mom, no.
Just in case, you just never know. Yeah, the resurgence and such. For me, what it was, secondhand or third hand. So I know people that know someone, and a good amount of my I think the closest one was the fact that one of my longtime fans that generally watches every stream and his co-worker died of coronavirus, and then he got laid off. So that was probably the closest that I know. And then one of my neighbors in my business, top floor, one of the doctor's friends had corona, so they just told that doctor to stay home, just in case. But now everything is closed.
And you
So.
sealed him into his apartment, right? Just like China. You sealed him in there. You like nailed his door shut.
Exactly. Like it's wild. All right. The infection death rate. I'll just say right now for Tokyo, it's
Mhm.
dropped to about what 70, and then 41 was yesterday. So there's a drop now. I've been keeping up with Hiko Simon. He's been posting the rates daily. So yeah. So we've been doing fairly well on that particular side, but I don't know if that's going to last.
Okay, what kind of blows my mind on it is that some of the smaller prefectures have worse death rates than we do.
Because they're
Um,
not fucking around. I mean, they're just fucking around. Like they're not taking it seriously. They're not taking it seriously. That's like I have friends that are in Kumamoto or like in Kanagawa. Like they don't take it seriously because they're not seeing the effect as strong as we are. Like
so what,
it's
they
a
have to watch people die in front of them?
it's the same thing about some of these countryside areas in the states that are like demanding that places open up because they're not seeing they're not it's the same mentality. They're not seeing it happen. That shit doesn't happen until that virus has a name or has a face. um People just don't see it. All they know is that they can't work. So
So instead of Karen needs a haircut, Aikiko needs a haircut. Gotcha.
exactly. They're I understand. Like you have kids, so I understand the idea of like you can't have kids bottled up in a house all day. They gotta go out. They gotta go to the park. So I get that point, but it's a weird situation. Like you see a lot of people still disregarding social distancing. Do you what would you change about the quarantine? Um,
I
sh-
you pretty much said it already.
yeah,
That made
yeah,
people take it more serious.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Take it seriously, and then also give me more money. That's it.
I
Look,
agree with that 100%. I'm not gonna.
if that $1,000 changed to $3,000, I'd be a lot more happier. So, because $1,000 doesn't even pay my rent, and that's assuming I even get it. Do you think Japan is doing enough? Not really.
Nah.
Do
What
you
about
think?
Shinzo Abe? Nah.
Nope, not really. Are you finding any supplies hard to get? Toilet paper. Interesting enough, I have a conspiracy theory friend that let me know about all of this before it was about to go down. I mean, he sent me bottles of this weird formula that he told me to drink if I start coughing. And so he's kind of weird, but whatever. He let me know about the toilet paper thing before that shit hit, and literally. And so I just happened to be running out of toilet paper the night before, and he sent me a text at 2 a.m. in the morning. He's like, yo, dude, you gotta buy all the toilet paper right now. And I just happened to be at the Konbini, and I'm like, fuck it, let me just buy the next day. That shit was gone.
Did you ever
So
do like a special Mason's handshake before you bought it or anything? Was
like
there?
all I
Did you
can
have to
say,
reveal you're a lizard person
he
before you bought?
he has a hazmat suit when he goes to the supermarket. This is in Japan, by the way.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like but I appreciate the fact that he gave me a heads up.
He's just
How
cosplaying for Resident Evil 3, man. It's okay, dude.
That's viral marketing. How about you in Osaka?
Literally.
In
Um,
Osaka, any supplies problems?
Not really. We never really dealt with the toilet paper thing, although I was kind of lucky because I have a school. I have like stocks and stocks of toilet paper, so I just never like it's like I got my own store here. Well, actually, speaking about the hazmat one, let's jump into the last question here because
Okay.
of that. If worse comes to worse, what's your bug out plan?
Uh,
Yeah. Good luck finding a gun in Japan.
yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to do samurai style there.
You have to seppuku. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that. Oh my god, if worse comes to worse, I mean it depends on how worse. That like what are you talking about? Like in terms of like if I lose my job, like that's what's happening. That's my from the business aspect right now, look, we might be making money right now. We might be getting a little bit of a stipend right now, but that doesn't mean that not all companies are going to get bailed out. So what's going to happen? Here's the biggest fear for a lot of companies in Japan is, yeah, we might come back in about a month or 2 months, but a lot of those businesses might fold 2 or 3 months after that.
There's going to be a bunch of skeleton buildings on the street, dude. I
Yeah,
can tell you.
a lot
But
of
when I say
companies.
like worst comes to worst, like lockdown, DMZ, government falls apart. You can only wear leather because it's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Ah, okay. If worst comes, my plan is to constantly stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I would just be that guy with the goggles and be like, "Hey guys, here's another update from deep inside Tokyo," like that, and I would hope that I can hit 1 million subscribers on that one. I'm gonna just change the name instead of Comics Plus by Akasan. It's gonna be Bugging Out in the Quarantine Tokyo Meltdown. Tokyo Meltdown by Akasan, and hopefully that ad revenue from YouTube would make me immune to any virus. How about you?
I set up like a full bug out bag. Like I'm not a conspiracy.
Goddamn.
I'm not like a doomsday prepper or anything, but I did actually go to Conan, which is pretty much like our Walmart here in Japan,
Oh,
and
okay.
I stocked up on like organic masks that look like like kills 100% organic things you would breathe. Like my family can get into a situation where we do look like your friend walking around in the hazmat masks. I've got some airsoft guns. What do you think? Am I protected with those?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I definitely think foreigners should unite a little bit and maybe keep a little more of their own social network situation.
Yes.
Luckily, I'm part of a few networks on Facebook, so I get a few information, but it's definitely a scary time, but it's scary everywhere. That's the craziest thing. It's much worse than Japan. It's much worse than the Tohoku earthquake, because at least there was an option to go back home. But going back home, like this idea of going back home, I'm like, to what? It's crazy everywhere right
During
now.
that time, if you went back home, they would call you a flygen, right?
Yeah, I remember, and I never did.
Flygen. That's it. That's all you can do.
Remember that all the Yoshinoyas in Disneyland was empty, so it was crazy. Anyways, guys, we are wrapping up here because our boy has he's got his own clients to come in and deal with. Scott, thank you so much. Welcome back to the crazy wild world of YouTube. If you guys want to see more of him, maybe we can do a follow-up or something a later time if you have any more topics you guys would like us to discuss and what have you not. Let me know and we will make it happen. Again, Unrested, the channel is Unrested. Make sure you check it out. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, man. It was a blast as always.
Thank you so much. Let me switch over to my main thing here. Guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoy this particular special interview on Comics Plus. I will be back with some other stuff in the future. I'm going to check my Animal Crossing turn-ups in a little bit, and we will see what's up on the next video. Take care of yourselves and be safe out there, all right? And we will talk again very, very soon. For now, this is Akasan signing out. Peace.